Hi there. I want to take a look at restoring an image file. We've got this image which is called Orig. It's in the damaged photo folder in the shared file. I'm going to start off by duplicating it again, so we've got a before and after. Many things wrong with it. Let's just zoom in on some of them. We've got these scratches, we've got some creases. So we've got a missing eye, or it might be there. It's just got damage, like it's been bleached or something. So I'm using Control plus and minus to zoom in and zoom out. I'm going to start off by using the spot healing brush tool over here. That's if it's not visible. A few things you can try. You can go Window, Workspace, Reset Essentials, which just puts your UI back to the settings I have. But any of these with a right-click option have more brushes hidden underneath. So we're going to go with Spot Healing Brush. I've set it to a soft-ish 6% hard, and I'm just going to adjust the size using the square brackets. It's a wonderful tool. You can just click and hide areas of damage. I'm going to undo that just to go about things properly. Excuse me. I want to create a new layer above my background layer because I want to do all my repairs separately to the main image. To do that, we need to make sure we have sample all layers turned on up here. Then it's able to sample from the picture. And just clicking and dabbing over this, you can see it's doing quite a nice job of hiding that scratch. On long scratches like this, you can left click and drag over it, and it will do a reasonably good job all on its own. For little bits of foxing, like that is, you can just dab and click. Oh, right, so I'm just clicking over any of these little dots and just getting rid of some of this damage. Up here we've got kind of a wider, it's like the paper's been folded, and we can brush over it. That's actually worked really well. Let's just keep doing a bit more of that. Left click in, left drag in. What we have got, there are some kind of patchy bits where it's not done a perfect job, but it's reasonable. We've got the option of using a second tool, which is the clone stamp tool. Looks like one of those stamps they use in a library. This works by having a sampling point and a point it's painting on. Check it's sampling all layers. If that's just set to current layer, and because there's nothing on this layer, it wouldn't work. But you click Alt to select an area, and you can just about make out it's the sampling area. And I'm just kind of dabbing over where there's obvious tweaks gone on, just to hide it. So I'm just Alt click and then draw, and that makes quite a nice job. But I'm going to go back to the spot healing brush again, because it was working fairly well for what we needed. Let's get rid of some of those. Obviously you can spend as much time with this, or as little time as you would like. So here it's more apparent where it's not working as well. Can you see we've got, it looks like it's it's been rubbed through a bit. So I'm going to try and use the clone stamp brush here. So I'm going to alt select a part of this wave and just kind of draw some back in. See, it does quite a nice job. Oh, I don't like that. So I'm going to undo. So I'm using Control Z to undo, but if you click on the history button up here, we've got the option of stepping all the way back to different parts of the image, or stepping all the way forwards to where we were happy with it. Let's just hide that again. Right, let's have a zoom right in on our eyes. This is a raster image. So as we've talked about before, if you're getting very close to a raster image, you can see the individual pixels, which are these little coloured squares. To repair this eye, I'm thinking I might just clone this eye across. So while the eye is visible, it would take us an awful long time to piece it back together. So what I'm hoping to do is clone the colour of this pixel onto this pixel and work around it. So I'm still using my clone stamp brush, but I'm going to select an individual pixel and put it there. And keep clicking, left click to select, and then just click on its own to deselect. Click. Now, if you squint at these things, you kind of narrow your eyes and just kind of really squint, it kind of helps you see how well the result is looking. And on things like eyes, it's quite important to do as good a job of fixing it as possible, because it's easy to make somebody look kind of cross-eyed or strange, and we're quite receptive to things about faces looking wrong. Certainly in the 3D gaming thing, they refer to it as uncanny valley, and we just know there's something wrong with an image. How are we looking? That's coming together. I keep sampling from kind of above and then below, just so I'm getting a mixture of pixel colours in there. I apologise for pulling faces, but that's the only way to do it. Yeah, there we go, getting there slowly. It's worth spending a bit of time on this eye, because if we copy her left eye before we move it across and it's still got the damage on it, then we have to do this twice. I'm still not 100% happy on here. Okay, we'll live with that. Let's just zoom back out so we can see how the scratch is repairing. That's not too bad. I'm just going to give it a bit of a tweak over here too. It's weird that these images are just coloured squares, but the effect is pretty good. I'm still seeing a few ones where it's the scratch is still kind of showing up. That's let's drag this around here. Yeah, these are still just a shade light. How's that looking? Okay, we can live with that. Right. What I would like to do is try and copy this eye and flip it and put it over this eye instead. To do that, I'm just going to use the rectangular marquee tool. Make a selection straight down the center of her nose, and just to about there. So let's have a think. I'm wondering whether I need to select both those layers and merge them. Yeah, I do, because we have these parts of the image on one layer and the rest of it on another. Well, actually, what I'm going to do is select that one, select that layer, right click them and convert to a smart object. Now they're both kind of combined together into one layer, so I should be able to go edit. I think I can right click the selection, right click, layer via copy. So with a bit of luck, we should have that eye on its own layer now. So if I get on my move tool and show transform controls, if I go edit, transform, flip horizontal, it will flip the eye end for end. Now I'm just going to use the arrow keys to move it across here. And again, we need to just have a look how it's lining up. My initial concern is it's not really matching the line of a, what is this, a headscarf? Can we rotate this layer a little bit? Yeah, we can. And just use the up keys, just the up arrow keys, just to shuffle it. How's that looking? No, it's not perfect, but it's reasonably good. Let's select our eye layer, which I'm just going to call eye. And again, we need to go in with the spot healing brush, set to all layers, and just start giving it a bit of a dab. Just trying to blend out some of the bits which are wrong. See, that's gone the wrong way completely. So I'm going to use my clone stamp tool again and just alt click and draw some of that darker color in there. The best tool to use is the one which works. Okay, we're doing all right. Doing all right. Let's get back to the spot healing brush again and just see if we can fix her face. Get rid of that piece. The real trick is just keep stopping and looking at it and think, does it look any good, or have I made it worse? Can you see there? Made it worse. Dabbing and prodding at it. So we've still got some weird artifacts going on here. When I zoom back from it, say up here is not looking too bad, but you can still see that line across her nose. And if necessary, get all the way in like we did before, get on the clone stamp and just samples pixel into manage that, continue. Didn't press alt, did I? Is it set to all sample all layers? Spot healing brush on the right one. Alt select. That's strange. I don't think it's liking that being a smart object. I think it can't sample from all the stuff in the smart object. I wonder if we drag that into there. Won't let us drag it into a smart object. Right, let's go into the smart object. Right. Oh, this is before we had the eye in. Interesting problem. Can we drag our eye up into the smart object and deposit it? Sort of. Let's see if we can get it. Do like a challenge. Right, we've dragged it in. Let's just position it manually again. I think that's where we had it. Okay, let's zoom in again. I think we've made a nose look crazy wide up here. What do we think? Maybe. So it's possible we could liquefy it and just shove it back up, but we could be going into a world of hurt. Let's add that layer and let's just keep working on the background here, fixing some of these spots and missing pieces. Now this bit, I said, like the original eye, there was a piece of there's a piece like it looks like it's been bleached or something. Part of me is wondering, just in the whether if we select this area, sample all layers, just try and sample this white area, select, modify, expand. Let's expand it by 1 pixel, just so we've grown it. I'm wondering if we do mess with the exposure, whether we can darken it. No, that's just not going to work. Have to try things. Not everything works. We could try dodge and burn. See, burning it will actually make it darker, but I'm not convinced it will work sufficiently well. I think because we're on a different layer, you can see it's sort of darkening it down and bringing sort of the contrast in, but I'm not sure it's going to disappear doing that. Let's go back up to our original layer and let's get busy with the clone stamp brush again. So I'm going to Alt Select and just start cloning some of these areas back in. Again, it's just spending a bit of time and stopping and going and looking at it. Now, one of the dilemmas we have to think about is how much work should you actually do trying to restore a photograph. Because while we can fix it up eventually, we're going to go into the territory where we're actually faking something which wasn't really there. And you can end up with a pristine picture which doesn't actually look like the person. It's like her nose just looks wrong. It's bugging me, that nose. I wonder if we can liquefy it and just kind of tug it across. Filter, liquefy. Zoom in on her nose here. Let's make the brush small. I'm just using the forward warp tool here a little bit, just to bring that line across. This is doing some strange stuff. Let's just OK it and see whether it looks. No, it doesn't. Not happy with that. So we can step back to before we use liquefy. And I'm thinking this might be a clone stamp activity again. So I'm just going to click. It was alright, but it was just a bit big. I'm trying to get this kind of shine line on her nose, just on the bridge of her nose, just a bit neutralized. How's that looking? It's a little bit more natural. Still seeing this line here though. It's amazing how 1 or 2 pixels can just really scupper the effect. Don't like that one. Don't like that one. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all. A bit more spot healing, which again is pretty much just drawing straight on there. I don't know if any of you have your own scanner at home. A lot of printers have them built in. If you have and you've got some old family photographs, feel free to have a go at some of these techniques on your own photos. What I would say is you have a DPI setting, which is dots per inch, in the scanning settings. Turn it up as high as it will go to scan your image, because you can always get rid of detail afterwards, but you can't put it back in as easily. Spend an eternity clicking and removing dots here. I'm going to leave it there just before it rambles on for 3.5 hours. Brilliant. Well, have a go at this image, which is in the folder, and it's just called original. Oh, we're still in the smart object. To close that, click save. and it will apply those changes back to our main object, which was just called, I think it's just called a ridge, but it's in the damaged photo folder. Thank you for watching.